Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop, and stick around because today we're going to be talking about the 6.8 by True Velocity that was just selected by the U.S. Army to be used in the next generation squad weapon.
Just start. We'll finish.
Quick finishing pass, not too bad. And I'll probably do that.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. He's safe and far on the range. So on the left we have 5.56 NATO or 223, and on the right we have 7.62 NATO or 308 Winchester on the right. But today we'll be speaking on the 6.8 polymer case by True Velocity. True Velocity's website states that the 6.8 composite-cased ammunition design will provide the end user with significant advantages over the more widely used conventional brass-cased ammunition. And then they go through some of their finer points. Accuracy. Well, I don't know if I believe that a polymer case would deliver more accuracy. It's certainly possible, only time will tell, but I think that has more to do with the 6.8 projectile that they use. Other claims are that you can get the polymer in different colors. That doesn't do much for me, but for certain people, I'm sure that's just what they want. The polymer case is 100% recyclable, which will make a lot of people happy. Well, most people happy. The polymer cases will run cooler than brass cases, and that's certainly true because brass transmits heat or energy a lot easier than polymer does. For a real-world example, just think of your cooler. The polymer cased is also 30% lighter in weight. Now that is extremely impressive, especially in weapons that have a lot of ammunition like belted weapons or squad automatic weapons. So let's think about this in terms of weight versus the 5.56 NATO. A 55 grain, 1,000 rounds of 5.56 by 45 will weigh in at 25 pounds and 6 ounces or 11.5 kilograms. So let's put that into some like real world numbers. If you had a loadout, you'd have, generally speaking, 1 magazine in your rifle and 6 on your chest rig, giving you a total of 210 rounds. So that would be 5 pounds, 5 ounces, or 2.5 kilograms. With a weight reduction of 30%, you could carry the same weight, but your round count would go from 210 to 273 rounds, giving you over 9 magazines of 30 rounds each. Now that is impressive. True Velocity's current offerings of this ammo is 5.56 NATO, 7.62 NATO, 338 Norma, 50 BMG, and 12.7 by 108 millimeter. But this is only to international and domestic defense and law enforcement. This is not available yet to the commercial market. Now, True Velocity said that they would have information for the commercial market at the end of 2019. Well, right now it's December 23rd, and all the information that they have that's new is that they have been selected by the U.S. Army for their next generation squad weapon. If you'd like to contact True Velocity, you can email them at salesinfo@tvammo.com, or you can call them at 972-487-6500. Their main office is located in Garland, Texas. So True Velocity got into business with General Dynamics Ordnance Tactical Systems and the firearms manufacturer known as Beretta. And that's how they're getting all this technology done with this new round, and it certainly has paid off for them. But will this round be able to stand the test of time? If we look back in history, I remember back, I believe it was May 25th, 2014, Alex C. of TFB decided to test some polymer ammunition, early market polymer ammunition that was made by a company called PCP. Alex had brought out 2 different rifles, a PTR-91, which has a fluted chamber, and an FN-FAL, 2 of the most battle-hardy rifles known. The PTR-91 ended up shooting 1 round and then having a catastrophic failure. the case actually blew out the side and then damaged the magazine. And here's some pictures of that. I will try to leave a link to their write-up on this stuff in the description. Alex most likely attributed this to the fluted chamber, and he says so in his article. So he got out the FNFAL and loaded it with 1 round of ammunition, and unfortunately the same thing happened, a catastrophic failure that damaged the magazine. Again, the case had a blowout near the base, and it destroyed the magazine. So it's interesting, to say the least, that there's probably been a lot more R&D development going into this round than rounds past. Alex contacted PCP Ammunition, and PCP finally got back to him on March 27th. Who got back to him was Jay Duncan, the Director of Sales and Marketing. And in short, the letter basically said that PCP never experienced any issues with their ammunition during testing in the SAMI spec chambers. That's kind of true, but it shouldn't matter that much, technically speaking. So here we have a NATO chambering 7.62 by 51, or NATO, and there's the NATO stamp right there. That's how you can tell the difference. And here's a 308 Winchester round. You can see it states 308 right there. And at first glance, they look exactly the same. Where the real difference comes into play with these two different rounds is the chamber reamer that's used for the chamber. The case neck on the NATO round actually has less of an angle, and the case neck on the 308 Winchester round has more of an extreme angle. Generally speaking, I've never experienced any issues firing one out of another's chamber, but you should always fire the correct ammunition that's marked on the barrel of your firearm. So that was one thing that PCP came back at him with, and of course, since he was using an FNFAL and a PTR91, most likely his chambers were in CIP instead of SAMMI, which is, SAMMI is generally what we use here in the States, and most other places use CIP specs. They also stated that the failures were caused by the out-of-spec chambers, and that they only had a short release to the commercial market, which was intended to expose their ammunition to the U.S. commercial market variables. Basically what this means is that they were beta testing the customers with their ammo, which should make some of you upset. I know it makes me upset when I get, a lemon, and what they're really doing is just beta testing it to see if what they've designed floats or not, instead of doing enough R&D. I really don't think that's going to be a problem in this particular case, being that it's been selected. So the interesting part about this ammunition is that a lot of reloaders on forums talk about it ad nauseum almost, because what reloaders really want is a round that they can keep reloading. And I can understand that, because brass reloaders, and I've done a bit of reloading in my past, you'll notice that after you've reloaded a cartridge enough times, you'll experience a problem with the case in the head, or a problem with the neck in the case, or you'll get a crack. You got to keep up on annealing, keep the brass soft up here. This is the kind of the area that experiences the most expansion and contraction. So they're really talking about this round, and they're really interested in it. Now, like I said before, this round is not available to the commercial market yet, so I had to make this round as a visual for you guys to take a look at. And as much as I can tell, I got it pretty close, but there's no way for me to know because, like I said, this is a closely guarded recipe at this point. So, what is the NGSW specifications for this round? Well, the specs were a 140 grain projectile in a short magnum case, going at least 3,200 feet per second. So that's pretty impressive. This is the reason they're doing this is to push out the lethality from 300 meters, is what the U.S. Army is stating is the lethality of a 5.56 cartridge, to 600 yards, which this cartridge can do, allegedly. So that's the whole reason they're doing this. And if you guys haven't seen the new NGSW rifle that they've selected, it looks an awful lot like a Desert Tech. It's a bullpup design, so you have a long barrel that can still get in and out of transports easily, doesn't extend much further past a shooter's arm's reach, and is good for CQB situations going through doorways. So that's all I have for you guys. So let me know down in the comments, do you think this is going to be a wave of the future or just fade into the background? It's certainly going to be something interesting to see in the future and to see what happens with it. So like always, guys, remember that loose is fast, brakes only slow you down, and polymer ammunition, whether you like it or not, may just become a wave of the future. Be safe, have fun on the range, and because we are so close, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless, guys. See you later. One more thing, I also wanted to remind you all to check out the Full 30 forum to get all the latest up-to-date firearms industry news, especially things that are weird like the 6.8 NGSW round, and to talk to content creators. Like I said before, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.